Hello, hi, welcome to Yin. Tonight's Yin we will focus on our hips mainly, which link to the rest of the body, particularly our core and our back. So we can work the hips and it has lots of benefits for the rest of the body. Thank you for joining and a very happy new year if I haven't already seen you in a previous class. Thanks for joining. Just say hello to David and Helen. Happy re-lockdown. Okay. So we're going to hopefully take our mind off things that might have gone on today and going to try and just focus on ourselves, focus on sensations in the body, focus on our breathing. So by focusing on the breathing, sometimes it's quite hard to focus on just natural breath because it happens obviously naturally. So I'll give you a few tips as we work through the different stretches. So we're going to start in butterfly. So for butterfly, I like to, I forgot to mention, if you've got some either blanket, cushion or block to help to elevate the hips a little bit, which helps us to fold forward a bit more as well if you've got some elevation in the hips. So we'll come in first of all with the feet, soles of the feet together. The first butterfly that we can do is a bit more yang, which means that the stretch might be a bit more intense. So yang, we would probably just hold here for, if it was a yang yoga class, we'd probably hold for about a minute. With yin we hold for between 3 and 5 minutes, and we kind of allow ourselves to marinate in the body's juices. So that juice is called the synovial fluid. We can get that moving around the body to keep the joints young and to keep the joints lubricated. Also, sometimes we get energy stuck in the body, and when we lubricate the joints, this helps to release dormant energy around the body. If we get stuck energy in the body, it can lead to like problems such as aggressiveness, anxiousness and things like that. So it's good to do these long held postures. So I think that's been about a minute in the yang version of butterfly, or sometimes in a yang class this is called cobblers. So cobblers is great for posture mainly. Not only does it open our hips, but also we can draw our chest forward and our shoulders back and think about our posture, instead of the yin version is a bit more passive and we come forward like that with a rounded back. So we're going to hold yin butterfly for about 3 minutes. So I'll just set my timer. So if you need to come out, if you feel any like tingling in your back or hips, just come out and either stretch the legs out or lie on your back and bring your knees into your chest, which is what we call a counter pose. So if you feel okay, you can walk your feet forward a little bit more, and you can walk your hands forward. You could rest a blanket or a block or a cushion between your feet and bring your head closer to your feet. The thing is, you're trying to make yourself kind of comfortable but still feeling about 50% stretch. And the stretch here, instead of the inner thigh, really goes more into your lower back, maybe your hamstrings. So try to make yourself comfortable, notice sensations that are happening in your body, and bring your awareness to your breath. So for the butterfly, just noticing to start with the breath as it comes in through the nose and goes out through the nose. Try to not breathe in and out through your mouth. Try to Make the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Maybe close the eyes. So about another 3 breaths here. And lifting up slowly and stretching out the legs slowly. If you're on a block, removing the block. So a counter pose just helps to, that energy that's been released helps it to circulate around the body. So feet are apart and knees are apart. Knees down to one side, knees to the other. And we do the counter poses for about a minute, and again that increases a bit of mobility in the body, frees up the joints. Okay, so now we're going to lie on our backs for the next few poses. So just make sure you're in the centre of the back, in the mat, and then bring the knees in the chest first of all. Just hugging your knees in, knees side to side. So now we're going to do reclining figure 4. So this is a nice move for the back and the hips and the glutes. So first of all, bringing both feet to the floor and drawing our right ankle over our left knee. First of all, pushing the right knee away. So that might be enough. You might feel that that's enough of a hip opener. If you want to, we can take the left foot off the floor, still pressing that right knee away. If you have any issues with your knees, flexing the toes and then drawing the left knee towards the chest. And then if you want to, you can take the hands underneath the left knee, interlock the fingers, drawing the knee closer, or hands on top of the left knee. Just try to make sure there's no pain in the knees. We hold here for 3 minutes. And anytime it becomes uncomfortable, remember to release out and do your counter pose, which again is stretching out the legs or knees into the chest, or you can extend both feet up towards the ceiling to stretch out the back of the legs. So anytime you feel like you need to, remember we all have different shapes, different sizes of our hip joints, so we shouldn't try to do what somebody else is doing or compare ourselves to them. So now changing the breath focus slightly to even or equal breath. So if you inhale for a count of 4 then your exhale is also a count of 4. Try to count the breath slowly. Try not to rush. If you can, try to deepen your breath to as deep as you can while still feeling comfortable, not straining to deepen or lengthen the breath. So still focusing on your deep breath, about another 3 breaths. And bringing your left foot down and your right leg, right thigh, so it's kind of your right hamstrings resting on your left thigh, and then we take both feet off the floor and draw the knees into the chest. So you can either hug that left knee in, interlock the fingers and rest your hands on your left shin, top of the left shin, or you can take hold of the outside of both ankles and try and draw the feet closer to the body. So a deep stretch for probably your right glute, maybe right piriformis, right hip. So holding here for 6 deep breaths. So this is called reclining shoelace, and we're making a shoelace shape with our knees. Bringing the feet down again, and then releasing the feet, stretching out both legs, shaking out the legs as you stretch them out. And then if it feels good, we can bring the knees into the chest and extending both soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, just to open up the back of the legs. And then bring the feet back down. Okay, so then we go to the other side. So left ankle over right knee, and left knee pushes away. Again, that might be enough opening our left hip. If you want to, we can take the right foot off the floor and draw the right knee in towards the chest. So hands underneath the right knee or on top of the right shin. Interlock the fingers and drawing that right knee towards the chest. And holding again for about 3 minutes. And so still focusing
on the deepest breath you can. And try not to rush your breath. Take your time. Feel the wave as you breathe in. And the wave, like a wave, the wave comes in and the wave goes out. So 3 more deep breaths. Bring the right foot to the floor. Then again, just bringing the knees so they're in line with each other. So now your left hamstring is resting on your right thigh. And taking both feet off the floor, either interlock the fingers and just hold on top of the right knee and draw the knees into the chest, or take hold of the feet, outside of the feet, and draw the feet into the body. We hold here for 6 breaths. Slowly release the ankles, feet to the floor, stretch out both legs, shake out the legs. And if it feels good, we can bring the knees into the chest, knees side to side. So next, a stretch for the outer hips. So the outer hips are our abductors. So we're going to just cross your right ankle over your left and bring the feet to the floor and the knees down to the floor. You're going to see if you can walk the heels away from each other. So you're not crossing your ankles, you're crossing your shins. and then see if you can just relax down and rest your hands on your tummy. So as we breathe deeply here, want to focus on the tummy rising on your inhale and gently falling on your exhale. So this is called we're not just breathing into our chest, we're breathing into our side ribs and our belly. So this is either full yogic breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, which is much better for our rest and digest system. So we're going to focus on the breathing, on the sensations in the hips and the abductors for 3 minutes. So about halfway, see if you can maybe walk the heels away a little bit more. Maybe notice which hip you feel the sensation in, or which area of the hips you feel the sensation in. Still stay aware of that belly rising and falling with each inhale and each exhale. And slowly we lift the knees up. Notice the rebound. Might be quite strong when we notice. And then stretching the knees into the chest. Keep hugging the right knee into the chest as you extend the left leg along the floor. And change sides, left knee into the chest, right leg. As slowly as possible. Might really notice that energy as it moves around. And then both knees into the chest. Maybe extend the feet up towards the ceiling again. Heels away, toes towards the face. Stretching out the back of the legs, hamstrings, the calves. Knees back into the chest. So now cross your left ankle over your right, and bring the feet down to the floor again, and then knees to the release down, and again walking the heels away, so we're crossing the shins, and hands to the tummy again, and 3 minutes in cross ankles. So this is called reclining fire log, so you're making like fire log shape with your legs. That's the idea anyway. So notice if the sensations are in a different place when we did the ankles crossed opposite way. And focus on the breath again, rise and fall of the tummy. Maybe deepen the breath into your side ribs if you like. About another 6 of those deep breaths. And slowly bringing the knees up. Stretching out the legs. And here bring the feet together and stretch the arms above the head. Take a deep breath in. Breathing out, bring the arms down. Bring the knees into the chest. Hug the knees in. Knees side to side. Massage the back, the lower spine. And then taking your knees down to one side. And then pressing into the side to lift up slowly, or drawing the tummy in, rolling up to seated. Okay, so now we're coming on to our front into Sphinx. So kind of to counteract all the lying down on our back we've done. So now with Sphinx and Yin, we don't need to switch on any of the muscles in our legs. If we were doing a Yang class, we'd squeeze the legs together and we'd squeeze the glutes and squeeze the, like drawing our
kneecaps up to activate the thighs so the thighs are strong. Yin is more passive, so we don't need to really activate anything. All we need to be careful of is that there's no twinges in the back. So if it's too much of a back bend, you can bring your elbows forward. Elbows closer in will create a deeper curve in the spine. So now we're not flexing our spine forward that we do a lot in everyday activities, running, driving, cycling, sitting, working at the desk, on our phones. So this counteracts everyday activities. So it might feel a bit strange, so if it becomes too much, just rest the head on the hands in front of you. Be mindful of your own body. So we're going to take about another minute in Sphinx. So a few nice deep breaths here. Maybe focus on breathing into your back, into your lower back. I'm going to see if we can go a little bit deeper with the front of the body stretch by lifting up both feet. If that feels too much, bring the feet down again. Just a deeper stretch here for our quad muscles, our thigh muscles, and a bit more compression for our lower back. So compression is slightly strengthening our lower back. So great if you want to build strength in your back. But when we're building strength, we just need to be a little bit careful we don't do too much. And if the feet are up, slowly lowering the feet. Then we're coming into Sphinx meets half frog. So we're drawing our right knee up towards our right shoulder. And notice how that feels in the right hip. If you want to, you can take your foot out to the side or just keep it close in, it's up to you. Maybe try to flex the toes. Try not to lean too much in your left hip. Try to maybe lean over to the right a bit. And bringing our right knee down slowly. And then going into half frog the other side, so drawing our left knee up to our left shoulder. Maybe flexing the left toes, it's up to you. Taking the left toes out a little bit even, or left toes in, it's up to you. Try not to lean over to your right hand side too much, going over to your left hand side a bit.
drawing the left leg back down slowly. So come out of Sphinx really slowly. We've been in there all together with the half frogs as well for about 6 minutes. So lifting up slowly. Okay, and here we can either step into lifting up into a down dog, so turning the toes under and lifting the hips up, drawing the chest through to the thighs. Maybe walking the dog, so one heel lifts and the other heel presses into the floor. Nice stretch here. Might be for you, nice stretch for the calf. Keep the chest through to the thighs to intensify the stretch. And bringing our knees back to the floor. So we're going to do a version of the dragons to stretch out our calf. So it's called overstepping dragon. So if we step the right foot in between the hands, first of all just resting our thigh on our chest on the right thigh. So here you might, if you haven't got tight calves, you might choose a different option of dragon. There's about 6 different options, so I'll just show you the one for the calf. So if we have, this is a great stretch for our hips as well, obviously. If we have tight hips, like I said, it affects, can affect our back, can affect our knees, can affect our calves, feet and shoulders. So that's why I like dragons, because it's a great stretch for the hips and that's good for the rest of the body. So if we want to do overstepping dragon, we draw the right heel back a bit and we lean more over the right knee, but always try and keep your right heel pressing into the floor. If you're not feeling a stretch, maybe try and take the foot back a bit, but that's too far for me, so I'll just go that far. And then here with the right hand I can take it off the floor and massage up and down, finding the pressure points, the more tender points, and maybe digging the thumb in a bit and holding maybe for 10 seconds, then releasing and then finding another part. So all around the calf, like the lower calf, and then up maybe one side. So you'll notice different parts feel tighter than the other. Or if you don't want to do that, just resting the thigh over the chest over the thigh. So holding in this overstepping dragon for about another minute. If the calves don't need a stretch or they don't feel too tight, maybe you could try the twisting dragon. So here, edge your right foot forward and left hand underneath the left shoulder, right hand onto the lower back and twisting the chest to the right. I'll stick with my overstepping dragon, my manipulation of the calf. So just about another 3 breaths on this side. And slowly just edging your right foot forward, and then a bit of mobility for the hips and hamstrings. So first of all we're lifting the chest forward, and then we're taking our hips back, coming onto the right heel, trying to have a flat back, not your rounded back, a nice flat back, and then coming forward again, right foot flat on the floor,
hips back onto the right heel. It's about another 3 or 4 of those. So here this is more a stretch for your hamstrings as you take the hips back and straighten the right leg. And one more going back and forward. So now taking your right foot back, and again we can either just stretching out one leg at a time, straightening one leg, or again you can lift up into this gentle down dog, and we can walk the heels up and down again, walking the dog. And bringing our knees back to the mat. Now stepping our left foot in between the hands. So it's up to you again if you want to do the overstepping dragon for your calf or the twisting dragon for your rotation of your chest. This helps to loosen off the thoracic spine. So if you can, here I forgot to say, if you want to, you can turn the right toes under and draw that right knee back a bit, which will be a deeper stretch in your right hip flexors, the right top of the quad. So here, if you want to, we draw the left foot back a bit and draw the chest so it's resting on the left thigh. And keep your left heel pressed into the floor as much as you can. Now with your left hand, you can manipulate your left calf, pressing into the tender points, maybe 10 seconds, and then releasing. So we'll hold for about another minute or so. And then coming back, so edging your left foot forward if it's been back, and then doing the mobility for the hamstrings. So chest forward as we go into the lunge, and then hips back and onto the left heel. Maybe trying to straighten your left leg as much as possible, push your bottom back, chest forward. And a few of those just at your own pace. And again, taking our left foot back, again can extend a foot at a time,
or we can lift up into gentle down dog. And knees back to the floor. So the last pose we're going to do before we go into just a reclining twist. So this time we're on all fours, and if we can, we draw our right knee so it's behind the left knee. So we're kind of crossing the knees again, and then we're sitting back. So the bottom will gravitate towards the left heel, so you can rest there, just resting your chin on your top knee, or your forehead on your top knee, or if it feels okay, you take the feet apart and sit between the feet. So this is seated shoelace. So, but don't worry if the hips won't allow that. You would just sit back with your bottom resting on your right heel, and then elbows rest. You can rest your chin on your top knee or your forehead and just rest there. Or bring the bottom so it's in between the feet. So 6 more breaths here. And then we press into the hands to lift up slowly, and uncrossing the knees. So just extending one leg, extending the other leg. Then we go to our opposite side. So this time the left knee comes behind the right knee, and we kind of walk our hands backwards, and this time the bottom will gravitate to sit on the right heel. So we can do that, resting our chin or our forehead or our cheek on our top knee again. Or if it feels okay, we can kind of shift our bottom onto the floor, walk our feet out slightly to sit between our feet with our chin again resting on our top knee or our cheek. slowly coming forward again. I'm crossing the legs, stretching out one leg, stretching out the other leg. Couple more. And coming to lie down on our backs. To go into the reclining twist, mainly to loosen off the back. So make sure you're warm enough. You've got a blanket if you need one. The body will cool down. So bending up both knees with the knees together and the feet together, arms out like a T shape. Try and keep your body so it's in the centre of the mat, and take your knees down to the right hand side and look over the left fingers so the left palm can be up or down. And take 6 deep breaths in this reclining twist. And then breathing in, bring the knees to the centre. Readjusting the back maybe, and breathing out, take your knees down to the left and look over the right fingertips. Knees back to centre. Slowly knees into the chest. And then working on our breathing, either in corpse pose with the legs out straight and arms out to the side with the palms up, or constructive rest, which is the knees together and the feet apart and the hands on the tummy. So working on the breathing, where we breathe in, count 1, and breathe out, count 1, and then breathe in, count 2, breathe out, count 2, and then all the way up to 7, and then when you reach 7 you go back down, so 6, 5, back down to 1. So at your own pace, with the eyes closed, focus on the counting of the in-breath and out-breath. planting behind. Bring awareness just back to your body. Stretch out both legs, bring the feet together, taking a deep breath in, stretch the arms above the head. Breath out, bring the arms down, bring the knees into the chest, hook the knees in, knees side to side. And then we can either slowly roll up to seated, drawing our tummy in, or take the knees down to the side. Press the hand into the floor to lift up slowly.
And thank you. Hope you enjoyed and see you soon. Have a good rest of the evening and bye for now.